Okay, welcome to the show, Oliver Feng and Peter Lyons.
Thanks, Clara. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks, Clara. Happy to be here.
Okay, so I feel like we could probably all of us talk about online dating for a very long night out. So in an effort to keep this concise, I'm going to go through a few series of questions to keep the conversation moving and grooving. First, I want to introduce how we all know each other. We are all Georgia Tech graduates. We are all engineers. Some of us are practicing, some of us are not. We are all residing in Chicago. We are single. We are members of a group chat that shall remain unnamed just for privacy's sake. And just as a disclaimer, all of this conversation is going to be centered from the straight and cis perspective, unless I'm missing something major about y'all's personalities or your sexual identities, in which case, feel free to reveal or not. This is going to be from a straight dating perspective. So just as a disclaimer going into this conversation. And as a point of just suggestion, take it or leave it. If you are single and living in a big city, I highly recommend making a group chat of other single people, because I love to just bounce ideas off of people, commiserate, have fun, just share date ideas. And I think Peter, Oliver, and I have all enjoyed being in our group chat. Again, group chat name will remain nameless. So that's enough of me talking. First, I would like to introduce our first guest, who is first in alphabetical order of first and last name, Oliver Feng. So Oliver, could you please introduce yourself by reading your Hinge profile?
I'm glad you brought up our group chat. It is a great group chat, and it's also fantastic advice for anyone living in a major city. Okay, I'll pull up my Hinge profile. So 3 prompts on Hinge. First one would be my dream job if money didn't matter, and my answer is to open up a food truck. Honorable mentions also are making custom furniture and or cosplay outfits for an Etsy shop, or open up a hostel. So I am a resident of West Loop, Chicago.
Don't give away too many details here.
Yeah. I was gonna
You don't
say,
want anyone to stalk you if this blows up, But you can give the overview. Maybe
okay.
Or I actually have I'm totally interrupting you, but if you chose to put in, like, for those of you who are unfamiliar with the Hinge UX design, there are lots of options in, like, the info section. It's like kind of like the Facebook where you were born. So if you chose to include or not include certain parts, maybe talk about that if you want.
Okay. I think I have everything filled out. I'm actually just checking to see anything I have hidden. I guess, like, children and family plans.
Are you open to children, Oliver?
Yeah, no, I totally am. But, like, I guess, try to keep the profile succinct. Maybe this is something I should unpack later. Oh, my ethnicity is hidden, East Asian. But, like, I just did it because I was like, there's a lot of words in my profile. I want to keep it short.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm totally open to kids and having a family. But, like, I guess I am nowhere near that, I guess, level of making that as, like, criteria to judge people off of on if they're compatible or not, because that's way like decades away, maybe not decades, but anyways. So the next prompt is, I won't shut up about, this is pretty long. It's travel credit card points, drunk food spots / my future food truck, anime, and I think you should leave references, which is a fantastic show. Hit or miss to some people if they have, subpar taste in humor, but
shots fired.
Slap them up.
And then I'm joking. The last prompt is most spontaneous thing I've done, and it's got a one-way flight to Vietnam, bought a motorcycle, and drove around the country for a month. But yeah, and then there's a picture of me in actually I'm not even in Vietnam. This is in the Philippines. Close enough. Anyways, on the
motorcycle, link, right?
Yeah, on a motorcycle. Yeah, and then so that's pretty much it.
Right on. Okay, Oliver, we've heard your voice. Peter, let's hear it. Walk us through. Scroll us down virtually, auditorily.
All right, now that I'm unmuted, let me see. So this isn't going to be visual, is it?
It's really up to you, dude. Like if you, as I
True.
said to Oliver, if you want to hype up a photo, go for it. If you want to keep yourself demure and like mysterious, also go for it.
Because I'm not gonna lie, I've pulled some power plays from if you guys have ever read it, Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. He has a whole chapter about what you should and shouldn't put in your dating profile. If you're a guy with a fish in your profile, probably should need to get that out. First picture is of me with my brother's dog, which is not my dog, but I live with it, so it's still technically counts. I'm looking for a bottomless brunch buddy who also loves to shred some mountains and explore the world.
Dude loves some bottomless brunch. Can confirm. Can confirm.
Can confirm too.
Let's see. I have my age, my location, drinking, yes. I always love how the prompts are either yes, no, or sometimes. I have myself listed as 6 foot. I'll let you guys determine whether or not I'm actually 6 foot. I have my job, where I went to school, where I am from, and where I lean politically. My next picture is a picture of me when I fell into a hole in the middle of skiing in Denver to show that I'm fun and can fall down sometimes.
Guys, he's so funny. He can fall and laugh about it.
I'm down to earth.
So
yeah,
quirky.
He's so quirky.
I have a picture of me and my brother at a wedding we went to, where we were both in brand new suits that we actually got straight off the rack 3 days before the wedding because we realized we hadn't tried our suits on in about 2 years pre-pandemic. So
were they too big or too small?
They were way too small.
Ah, there he goes. There he goes.
My next prompt is give me travel tips for anywhere you've been. Trying to see as many countries as possible just to provide an icebreaker for, obviously I'm looking for someone who enjoys traveling. So anybody that it's basically opening up so that if you've been anywhere, then you can just, I've had people just start rattling off everywhere they've been and why it was awesome, which is definitely a great prompt to have. My next picture is of me with my niece. So just became an uncle about a few months ago. So it's a great picture to have. Next prompt is I get along best with people who enjoy making the most of every day while never taking themselves too seriously, which if you know me is a fantastic answer to that prompt. But I was just on vacation last week with some friends and part of the dinner conversation was critiquing other people's Hinge profiles and they rated that answer as a little too basic. So
agreed.
There may be some changes on the horizon. And then my next 2 pictures are me wearing a Hawaiian shirt holding a stuffed giraffe from a certain cabin weekend that Oliver was on with me. And a picture of me on a boat in St. Lucia on the bow. So
chest hair
that
flex.
Is exactly.
You gotta know.
I needed the Hawaiian shirt in there so that people know that I do wear Hawaiian shirts on occasion. So that is me. That is my profile.
Okay, gorgeous. Next question. Now that we kind of know who you guys are, how you present, give us what's not on the profile. What has your online dating experience been? So like what age did you start? How has it evolved? Like, have you met anybody from an app or has it just been casual? And what are your thoughts on like your relationship with an app now?
I would say I think I went on like maybe one date in college. I graduated in 2017, around similar time as y'all. It was kind of new in college, but also like college was like a social petri dish. You didn't really need like you can meet people so easily just by getting involved. It was I guess like it's kind of funny and entertaining to like see people you might know. I think I didn't really take it too seriously. I my first job out of college, I moved to Milwaukee and I didn't know anyone there, so it was pretty nice to like meet people that were outside of my work friend circle, which they're really great. I love my work friends, but kind of nice to meet other people. And then I would say I didn't really take it too seriously until I moved to Chicago. Chicago's definitely much more larger dating pool and significantly more diverse. And so for someone like myself who is of the Orient, it found myself finding people that I can relate a lot more. And by no means is that like a necessary thing. Like it's just is like kind of cool. I was like, oh shit, like I didn't realize people were that similar to me, and like I didn't have to explain things. You know, I think I'm just getting older too, so it's like, you know, a little bit harder to date like 1,000 people at once. So I actually had like
have you done that once? Have you dated 1,000 people at once?
No, I mean like I guess like people
it's not
that are
that
like,
hard.
Yeah. I guess like I don't have like I get exhausted. I'll get exhausted if I have to talk to that many people. I know people that are like trying to line up dates like every like day of the week and stuff. Like I couldn't do that, but it definitely forced me to date people more seriously. And I had like the longest relationships I've ever had. Honestly, because of the pandemic, it kind of forced me to be like, can't just be a fucking degenerate. You're in your upper 20s. So yeah, it's been a pretty good experience. Get a little like, you know, tired of it because just pandemic in general, but overall, pretty positive experience.
Pete, hit me.
Yeah.
When did you start? Where are you now?
I started with dating apps when I was living in Seattle. A little bit of background on me is I'm a software engineer.
Cool.
I'm a software engineer who is also a white male with a beard, which if anyone knows the demographic of Seattle, there are a lot of us out there.
Cute. We love originality.
Exactly. Very original. So it was fun, but also there's just people like me were a dime a dozen out there. So it wasn't something that I took 100% seriously because I just wasn't seeing as much success as I would have liked. But moving to Chicago has actually been a lot better for me in terms of that, because of the fact there's so many people, and as Oliver was saying, a lot more diverse. So you're
kind of in home territory too.
Exactly. So I can relate to being an Ohio State fan. I can relate to being from Ohio. And so it has been a lot of fun so far. Taught me a lot about just really meeting people and also going through the dating experience with a little bit more purpose than just trying to meet as many people as possible. Because I mean, the convenience of the app is fantastic because you get to meet so many people sometimes all at once, and it does get overwhelming sometimes, but it's easy to lose focus and realizing why you're there. Kind of like The Bachelor. Are you here for the right reasons kind of thing? So
I boycott The Bachelor. Sorry. I can't relate. I can't relate. No, I just get insecure because I feel like their girls are all really hot on there. They might be vapid, but like they look damn good in a dress. And I'm like, I will never have somebody love me. And it's just kind of slow and stupid. I will like stan Real Housewives, but something about The Bachelor makes me, anyway. So are you here for the right reasons, Peter? What is your reason right now for on the apps? Like when you go on there, what are you looking for?
I'm definitely looking for something more serious and long-term. There was a point where it was more just trying to get out and meet people and seeing what I really enjoyed in a person and what I enjoyed or maybe did not enjoy in a person. And so now I feel like I'm much more confident in myself and how to hold a conversation and talk to new people that I have never talked to before. And so I've been definitely taking it a lot more seriously and making sure that if a first date is a very enjoyable one, that I'm making sure that I am scheduling a second date as quickly as possible, and trying to make sure that I am making sure that I am using my time right, if that makes sense.
All right. So now we know a little bit more about you guys. I want to just kick off the deep questions with a little bit of rapid fire, yes or no. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to read 6 questions. They're yes or no answers. They should elicit a yes or no response. So as soon as I finish the question, first thought, yes or no. There'll be 6 of them. Question 1. Should a guy ask a girl out first?
Do I have to say yes or no?
Yes, you have to say yes or no. This is supposed to be faster.
And just yes or no.
How about this? You can say yes or no, but you can like inflect like no, yes. How about that?
Okay. No, it's 2022.
No.
If you've been texting for a week with no plans to hang out, is the date ever going to happen?
No.
No.
Should a guy pay on the first date?
Yes. Yes.
Is it okay to have a shirtless photo in your Hinge profile?
Yes.
Yes.
It's okay to ghost somebody you've been on one date with.
No.
No.
Is it okay to ghost somebody you've been on 2 dates with?
No.
No.
Can you find love on a dating app?
Yes.
Yes.
That was it. That was actually like, that had more gray area than I thought, but isn't that life, all gray area? I just wanted to get your feedback really quickly. I will note on the last question, I have firsthand experience on many levels that you can find love on dating apps. So first, my older sister and her husband met on OkCupid. 2, the family that I babysit for and have been doing after school nannying for, they met on Match.com. And the reason I'm here today, gentlemen, is an online dating app. In the year of our Lord, 1986-7, my parents met on a phone dating service called Between Friends. I'm not kidding. And if they listen to this, they're going to crucify me for revealing this secret. It's not a secret, but it was the kind of thing where my dad, I mean, kind of like what you have both alluded to, my dad grew up in Alabama, went to University of Alabama. My dad moved to New Hampshire, of all places, post-graduation, worked for an engineering company and knew all of 0 people. And yeah, he met my mom and they've been married for 35 years now. Peter, you kind of alluded to this in your answer, and I want this question to be for you specifically. So, I mean, we're all Georgia Tech people. We're trained as engineers. I feel comforted by guidelines. When I have stress in my life, I like start working and make order to give myself a sense of like clarity and purpose. Do you have any rules that you set for yourself or for your dates? And do you feel like those, or how do those help you, period? Like, how do those help you in your process? And Oliver, feel free to jump in if you have any that you agree or disagree with. But I know that when I've been bummed or disappointed, Peter's been a good kind of guiding light for me when I'm doomsday, which is frequent, frankly.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. One of the main guidelines that I have found that I gave myself when it comes to dating apps, I guess now Hinge specifically, was it stemmed from something that I noticed with the app, and it's just a problem with dating apps in general, is that when you live in a big city, there are so many people to swipe on or like or whatever the app calls for. And so sometimes you might end up having more than so many matches at once. And so I will have scheduled a first date, and then even if the date goes really well, I might still think, like that was fun, but also there's like 3 other people I could talk to right now that could be better. Because as, you know, someone who went to engineering school, perfectionist, I always think like, yeah, like maybe there's someone better out there. Maybe there's someone perfect out there that may or may not be true. That's a whole other conversation, but it ends up being unfair to the person that I had already been on a date on, because before the date's even over, I'm already thinking of messaging other people. And so
that burns.
Exactly.
It's
yes.
true.
So,
it's true though.
and now I'm thinking it's even got to me like during dates where I think, okay, like I'm talking to this person right now. They could be thinking like, oh, this guy's great, but there might be another date that I could get this week that from another guy that I matched with. It's a whole whirlwind. And so one of my guidelines is once I get a first date scheduled, I just delete the app until that, I guess, lead maybe might not be the right word to describe it, but until
Are we talking about a lead? Like, oh, she might go into contractual obligations with me. Let's do it. Let's close the deal.
Exactly. It's all a detective game.
Okay, continue. So you delete the app. That is actually pretty dramatic.
Yeah, I mean, at first I turned off notifications just so that I would be out of sight, out of mind. And then I just learned that even if it's on the home screen and I'm scrolling another app and then I go to the home screen and see it, I'm like,
it's on your home screen, like your first screen.
Well, not my first screen, but like when I say home screen, I mean just in general. Like I think it's on page 4 or 5. I don't know.
I was just imagining it's like weather, notes, reminders, Hinge. Like it's just there so prominently. Mine's in a folder called dating. Okay, Peter. So you talked about your rules on like pre-date. What about post-date? Like maybe you've moved off the app. Maybe you have numbers. Maybe you're iMessaging now. Like iMessaging or if in the case of Oliver, you're doing green messages. We love you, Oliver.
You guys can
And
WhatsApp me.
I know our group chat is on WhatsApp, full disclosure. Because we're international bitches. No.
Yeah.
What, like, do you have, I want to codify this. Like, do you text a person back within a day? Like, do you have any rules on that? I'll just shut up and ask that question.
Not really. I don't really have any rules when it comes to like amount of time to text back. Although my texting back time is very quick, being a permanent remote worker, so always from home. And so I'm very easily distracted. So as soon as my phone lights up, I'm like whatever I'm working on, I'm dropping that. Unless I'm in a meeting, I'm dropping that and picking up my phone. So maybe it might be worth adding some sort of rule for texting back time.
No, don't
add rules.
No, dude, I always think about this. It's like maybe when we were like 20, like, or 19, it was like okay to have these rules. Like, I can't text them back the first day or two. Like, dude, fucking adults now. Like, if you like someone, like, be like, I had a good time, let's do it again or something. I don't know. I think this might be.
Can we workshop this? Let's go into a case study. And the case study is me. I went on a date with a guy so here we are. We're on Wednesday, January 12th. Last Tuesday, we went on a date. Great date. We met for drinks. We walked home. We touched lips. We shared a kiss. Super, just fine. We both agreed, like, we're gonna, oh yeah.
Fast.
A first kiss on a first date, please. I'm loose with my lips, baby. I'm loose. So we went on this date and we were like, on the date, we were saying, we talked about doing Ann Sather's. So for those of you not in Chicago, this is like a breakfast place and there's like Cine rolls. And we've been talking about how great the cinnamon rolls and how I've never been there and he wants to take me. So he was like, okay, let's go get rotary sushi, like conveyor belt sushi or Ann Sather's. So that happens. We text a little bit. We've texted every day since. So on Saturday, we've been texting and like the distance between our texts are getting like hours. One, because I'm busy, and two, like, I don't know, like he's not giving me a lot to work with and I don't feel like we're pushing toward a second date. So on Sunday, I was like, what the heck? At the ripe morning hour of 8:15, I said, do you want to go get breakfast with me this morning? He doesn't text back until 10:45 saying, hey, I slept in. I'm going to get brunch with the boys. And I was like, no worries. Have fun. But he didn't provide an alternate time or thing. So I just left him on red because that's what I felt was right to do. Anyway, all I'm saying is, like, I don't want to be a taskmaster, but I'm like, let's make a fucking plan. Like, this is not working for me. So how do you interpret that from a male perspective? Like, he's put in like sort of ish consistent effort in like talking to me every day, but there's been no like course of action. So I want to talk. That was a really long case study for me to just get this question out of you guys. Like, where do you stand on scheduling? Because like, as my friends Blake and Hank say, like, so much of life is life admin. Like, how do you make it happen without feeling like me, the Google Calendar queen?
I think you did the right thing. You put the ball in his court, and I think everyone should do this. Like, obviously he's like hesitant to pick plans. It's honestly the kind of crux of online dating. Like, you don't really know these people. Like, maybe met them once or twice. Like, flaking or bailing on them is not that big of a deal. To you guys, like, if you guys wanted me to, like, I don't know, do something and like I just consistently flake, obviously that's a shitty friend thing to do, but that's someone you just met. Like, there's little stake in it. But I think, yeah, putting the ball in his court, be like if like I don't know, like, do you want to get breakfast? No, if it didn't work, and then say, that's a bummer. Let's do something this week when works for you, or like something like that. Like, putting the ball in the court, and then if they don't give you the time of day, then they're not worth your time. It's kind of shitty too. Also, like, there's that saying I always hear girls say, it's like, if he wanted to, he would. I also think that, because I'm definitely guilty of this, it's sometimes not that case. It's just that they're dumb. Hey, if you try to suggest a time, it doesn't work for them, tell them to pick a time, and if they don't, then on to the next one. They're not worth your time.
Peter, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, kind of with Oliver's point, like you have no idea what their life is. I mean, it
True.
could range from a reasons of they're just not that interested to they ended up accidentally scheduling 3 dates in a row and wanted to see how the other 2 went before scheduling a new one with you. And at that point, it's kind of on you to just say, I don't want to waste my time. If you're going to be wasting my time or dragging this on, then I'm probably going to move on because I'm not seeing any sort of level of commitment here.
So I should say those
obviously after the first date. Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you need to say, I'm looking for more commitment. Bye. And then, yeah, block his number, block him on every single social media, put him on blast on your story, everything. But if you have tried to also schedule something with someone and they said, oh no, like I'm busy, etc., and they don't offer an alternative, then that's either an indication of, as Oliver said, they're dumb, or they're just not that interested. So it's one of those things where you just have to make the decision yourself. You can't read people, but if they wanted to make more of an effort, they would. Or they're just dumb.
And it's correct their dumbness, like maybe being like more than one date, but because someone could just interpret it as an attack. I don't know. It's kind of tough with people like that. It's just what happens with online like the dating apps. Like honestly, just there's so little stake into it. And
so
especially
much chit chat. Like Peter described a date as a lead earlier. Maybe we're all of like the tightly wound disposition, but I feel like I'm just like, let's get a move on. Like I don't want to be a pen pal. Like I don't want to if I want to text somebody, I'm texting my girlfriends. I'm texting my friends.
Yep.
I have to fucking Slack with my coworkers all the damn time. Like I don't want to text with you. I don't want to hear how, and maybe I'm a cold-hearted bitch, but I'm like, if we're not like if we're not making a plan or like getting to know each other and it's not like fun, then I don't want to do it. And I don't want to apologize for that.
I totally feel the same way. Like, so you don't want to waste your time.
You could say he's not there for the right reasons.
Oh shit. There he goes.
Dude, Claire, I feel the same way too. It's just like, I don't want to spend time chit-chatting, pen paling. Like I have friends. Like that's what, like, if I'm going to try to, date someone, it'd be for, something that, it'd be more, there's no point. Like I'm not on the dating app. You could go on the Bumble BFF if I was looking for like what you're just talking about,
Hey, Jared, I think you'd be better served on Bumble BFF. See ya. That'd be fucking savage.
It could be tough with online dating because it's like, I guess this is what I know you would kind of mention towards like the rejection part. Because I was going to say originally when it's like, dude, rejection on online dating is significantly easier than getting curved by some girl at a bar or something. And so, but it doesn't hurt as much. But at the same time, like, I guess like I can see what you're talking about now. It's like if you go on a date and then they goes, which is why in your rapid fire questions, I know we're not supposed to, it's just supposed to be a yes or no question, but like that's why like. Yeah, we're adults now. If you don't want to date, you could just say like, "Hey, wasn't working out." Like, it doesn't have to be that detailed. Just say something,
I've had straight up like rejections that they just say like, "I had a great time," just zero romantic spark or anything like that. I had someone to definitely say like, "You are a fun person to be around. I did not feel any romantic connection to you." So like, and which as blunt as that was,
that is
like,
fucking blunt.
Yeah, you could like.
I felt the same way, so I'm glad that she said it first. But
I mean, yeah, but like, let's work on tone there, baby girl. Like, come on.
They could have sugarcoated it.
There were zero feelings to you. You do not make me horny.
Rating 0. Yeah,
I was dry
after I responded saying like, "Hey, no worries." After I said like, "Hey, no worries," I appreciate the transparency. Then she said like, "Good luck," and then she unmatched me.
Oh my God.
So I mean,
talk about a girl who likes some rules.
I mean, that might be an interesting guideline for dating apps. If you are not actively like, if you are not interested in a person anymore, unmatch them. Don't have them in your inbox.
Okay, I'm going to shift gears to a question for Oliver. I don't know where this study was quoted, nor do I know if it's true, but my friend told me it once, and I'm just going to start the question with it. So studies studies, I don't know which ones,
Peer
suggest
reviewed
that
by 2 people.
peer reviewed by nobody, suggest that Black women and Asian men are swiped right on the least, like they're passed over the most on dating apps. So Oliver, I mean, I'm going to use it because you used it. You're of the Orient. What has your experience with, I'm so sorry, but like, I'm just quoting it. It's the kind of thing where
I've seen this study before. I think every Asian American man, and I'm assuming now Black woman, has probably read about it. I think it was done by OkCupid, like before like Tinder and things were big. If you ever watched this show, I think it's Blackish. It's on Hulu or whatever network channel, but they had an episode about it too, where they dive into it. But it's kind of like, not to go on an entire soapbox, it's just like there's like white is like number one, and then like there's this hierarchy where like people will date like outside the race, but it's only the female to the male, and then at the bottom of the rungs end up being Black women and Asian men. So it's like I would say, like, I mean, I can't quantifiably tell you stuff, but I will say every time I've gone to China, I've been to China and Japan on vacation in the past like 3 years before COVID, so like maybe 4 years, and like definitely gone on a dating app and been like, holy shit, this is what it's like to be white. Because I would just get a shit ton more matches. And I was like, wow, this is what it's like to live in a homogenous, like look like the majority of people here. I would say also, like, just being Asian American in the US, like I grew up in Tennessee. So there's like, I was one of 5 in my graduating class of 500 Asians. So it's like, wasn't attracted to any of them. So I assumed like, I'm just not attracted to Asians growing up as a kid. And then I went to Georgia Tech. We got a whole bunch of nerds. We're a bunch of engineers. Ironic, surprise, a lot of Asians. And so I met a bunch of Asians. I was like, holy shit, this is actually pretty cool. We got like seasoning, you know, like we're it's like unique. It's a good thing. So yeah, I would definitely say I think a lot of Asian American men can relate to this. They go through this growth process where they go to college, embrace it more than they did growing up. And then I think that also translated a lot into online dating too. I lived in a predominantly like white place in my first job out of college, and I think that definitely was like, I was like, oh, look at the people the app was like teeing me up. And I don't know, Peter's the software engineer, you tell me how this app works, but it's like I would assume they throw at you people they think you would most likely match with, and I'll just be like, damn, am I ugly or am I just a minority? And then anyways, I mean, I'm this is like very long time, like this is much long time ago. I am fully like on the other side of that fence. It's like, fuck yeah, like it's awesome being Chinese and having, like I said, seasonings, being a little more unique. I will say though, I do kind of get like since I've been in Chicago, it's a lot more diverse. I've been teed up with a lot more Asians. Obviously, I think that's just how the app works. It's like, okay, the people might be successful.
The
but
algorithm.
The algorithm. And then I also do find myself, a lot of times if they're not Asian, and I don't know how much percentage of people doing this, but like I'll get a lot of girls that have like K-pop or like K-dramas like in their like interests and stuff, and like I'm not about any of that shit. Like, but a lot of times they'll be into anime, and like, yeah, I fuck with anime. Anime's cool. So but like, and then looking back at it, I've definitely been with dated 2 women for like extended periods of time. So not just like a few dates, but that probably had a fetish, or like some form of it. And one of them I completely overlooked because I thought they were just really attractive. And like, yeah, it's like, it was like a very little bit, but like, anyways, Shang-Chi just came out. Squid Games is popping, you know, like, dude, it's our fucking time to shine. You know, I would say they actually really do help. Like, I was thinking about it at the barbershop. Like, I was showing my barber, like when I was growing up, when my dad wasn't giving him bowl cuts, I was showing pictures of like random, you know, white people, because, or like whoever was on Hollywood, because I didn't have any like role models show. Now I'm showing my barber like an IG model from Brooklyn, and then the next haircut I'm gonna get, I've shown you guys, it's an IG model from London. It's like, and they're like all these like Asian, like fantastic looking Asian American men. So but yeah, no, I would say dating apps in general, like, it's part of the course.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll move to LA one day and then fish with dynamite. But like I was,
baby.
I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
dude. 2 more things. One, let's how the turntables. Let's turn the tables. Yes, that was Michael Scott. Yes, I'm basic. I asked you guys to come up with questions for me, or maybe I could help you workshop some problems or some case studies of your dating life. do you have those questions ready, or do we want to skip this part?
I have some questions ready.
I have some questions ready for you.
Fire away. Fire away.
All right.
Peter, you go first.
Yeah, is there something that you've noticed in the guys that you've either talked to on the apps or been on dates with that they all do something that might be common in most guys that's an immediate turnoff for you that they're not aware of? Maybe some people haven't called them out on it and it just hasn't become an issue.
Use this as an open forum. Call them by name too, please.
Listen here, David. Listen here, David from Lincoln Park. Well, let me tell you something. Let me think about this. So,
or that's a bad question. I got two more.
No. It's a good question. You're a good question. It's a good question for a good guy. I think that there's, other than wearing sneakers with jeans on a first date is a automatic. I don't want to fuck you.
It's even worse is running shoes with jeans.
Running shoes, those disgusting foam bottom Nikes with not ill-fitting, but like kind of faded, not skinny. Like, I'm talking to two fashionable men here. I am a fashionable bitch. Like, straight men have a lot to prove to me. And a lot of that is their fashion style. But I mean, that informs the fact that I have a tendency to be, I'm both picky, but I'm also like, I think I do sell myself short sometimes, where I like don't think of myself as attractive as I am necessarily. So I don't think that has anything to do with what I'm about to say, but I think that something that is a turnoff for me with guys is this kind of like, this belief that I give a shit about what's going on with them, like to an ad nauseum degree. Like, I've had multiple experiences with guys where they just recount their day and kind of like complain about it. And they're like, oh yeah, work, it's just how it goes. And like, I like to bitch about anything as much as the next person, but like, I don't want to be around somebody who's negative, who shits on their job or their day-to-day life, because like, they're not going to be a fun person to be around. And that's not to say you need to be like, well, it's today's Monday, rise and shine boo thing, like time to go. And I'm going to get my car. Like, no, it's just, if you have this kind of like melancholy, like, oh, life is a bland line. Like, I feel like a lot of guys do that and they're just trying to make small talk, and it's bad. So when in doubt, like, ask a question, because everybody loves to talk about themselves, and not that everything has to be an interview, but I think by even saying like, this is the classic interview question, instead of how was your day today, you could say, tell me about blank. Tell me about what you're looking forward to this week, or tell me about the funniest thing that happened to you today. Just something that shows you care, I feel like can go a long way, even if it feels forced. It's really nice. So that would be my one answer, other than sneakers with jeans.
I will say, after we had that conversation about sneakers and jeans, I specifically wore leather shoes to my next date after that.
See, I called you out.
You could wear like if you're gonna wear like a fashionable thing. I mean, I don't wear sneakers to dates, but like, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
I'm talking about like Vans are fine. Like cool Nikes that have colors on them. I don't know that any of the specific, like, Oliver, this is where you need to jump in for me.
Yeah.
But like, okay, another thing that is like questionable to me. No, Peter, no.
Yeah.
You're holding those up. Those are bad. Those belong in the gym and on a sidewalk with running shoes or shorts only, or running shorts or pants.
I'll wear my LeBron 17s to my next date.
I mean, it's a flex. Are you going to a basketball game?
No.
Then don't wear them.
Yeah, you still look like a dork if you show up to the Bulls game with a pair of basketball shoes on and you're not playing. I agree with you, Claire.
Pick me up from the stands, dude.
If I see someone like, I'll passively judge in my head, be like, oh God, what a fucking child. If they're like wearing like Sauconys or like Asics and like jeans, it looks like
you're a dad. Like you're headed
you're
headed to morning soccer with your Tervis.
Yeah.
Filled with iced coffee that's stained the inside of the glass.
Yeah.
Okay, Peter, what's your second question?
Is there something you see in profiles that you go through on dating apps that really annoy you, like a specific answer to a prompt?
Yes.
Like
People
people that
who-
don't take their lives so seriously.
People who don't take themselves too seriously. I see that. I'm not kidding, on 1 every 10 profiles, if not 1 every
See?
5.
Yes. So I need to
you're
update
not that basic. You need to update it. Secondly, like I am like, maybe this is just me, but like I take my life very seriously. So like we're not going to be a good match. Like I care. Like but otherwise I would say just some like general, these are baseline people. Come on, guys. First photo needs to be you and you only. If you're in a group photo, exit, get a different one. I need to see multiple pictures of you, and so I know who you are, because if you're in a group photo, most often in a wedding photo, like when you're a groomsman, I'm going to think you're the hottest one and then be disappointed as I scroll down. Secondly, be honest about your height. Like if you're 5'11", you're not, you're 5'10", just put 5'10". Like just be honest with yourself. It just sets the tone for the date. And so when I show up in 5'10", but like probably 5'11", because it's snow boot season, you're not going to be like, ooh. Other than that, I mean, don't put a passport photo as a photo. That one the other week.
Wait, that happens?
Yeah.
Did you not see my close friend's Instagram story, Peter?
I probably did.
You're a watcher. Come on. You always watch.
I am. I do remember it now.
Okay. Yeah. He gave me Fox News vibes. He was a serial killer. He was scary. Like
his honestly, like when you showed me his responses, I didn't think you could get worse than putting a passport photo on your Hinge, like your dating app profile. But his responses were even worse.
They were scary. He was a psycho.
The
But Peter,
two-
I do want to say, like, I love how your questions are soliciting the female feedback, because we love to give feedback. In case you didn't notice, Oliver.
Peter, I was gonna say, don't feel bad that you had something basic on your
I mean,
Hinge.
There could be worse things to have that are more generic.
I used to have a fish on my dating app profile, but I'll in my defense, I'll show it to you. I took it off. I took it off a while ago, but in my defense, I'm in the Philippines and like I'm carving up a tuna, and then we ate it like sashimi style.
That's different.
That's different.
It's not like the dock holding up his catch.
Yeah. I'm not like hillbilly, but I didn't want anyone to misinterpret it, because like I realized the picture looks like I'm on like if you don't look close enough, you might think I'm like on a dock or something. But
they're looking close enough, Oliver. We ladies are zooming in. Zooming in.
But this is the kind of open dialogue we need, because like otherwise we wouldn't learn that these things are basic, because like I don't know, like there's
I'm trying to think of any other basic one. I mean, like I saw a guy that was like this is another one. Typical Sunday, hungover, watching the Bears, or like I'm like that. You're gonna maybe like capture, like, okay, this is another thing. When you're writing your prompts, you need to write so that it encourages conversation. Like I'm not saying lie about yourself, but pick points that can start conversation. So when you say 3 things that I love: dogs, bourbon, and football, I'm like, no girl, like maybe 1 girl out of 80 is gonna be like, yep, that's my guy. And turns out she's gonna be a friend. Okay, maybe I'm just too girly, but like really, guys, like
you are in Bears country.
Oliver, do you have another question before we wrap up?
Okay, has anyone slid into your DMs and did it work? Pro tip, any tips you could give out to someone if someone was to slide in your DMs?
As in like
IG,
a friend?
Could be anybody. Like if they were approaching you in a non-friend, like in a more than friends way, like if they're trying to ask you out via DM.
No, but like I've slid into other people's DMs. I feel like I'm an aggressor. I feel like with girls, I feel like it would work pretty well, right? So I am just someone where I'm like too action oriented. Like I don't let things simmer. Like if I have a crush on someone, I'm like thinking about it, manifesting it. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what manifesting means. I actually talked to my friend Scott about this. Like I don't know what it means, but I would love somebody to slide into my DMs. Anybody want to do it?
What should we read out your IG real quick?
At Clara_Jennings.
At Clara_Jennings. You all
slide into my DMs. It would be a welcome distraction from everyone who's wanting me to promote their jewelry brand that comes in for the requests. Like, we think you'd be a great brand ambassador. I'm like, why? Have you seen my last 30 posts? Like, that's just.
Are they paying you?
No, they're paying me in product, and then I have to post a certain number of times. Like, fuck no.
And?
I mean, it's a payment that I don't want, like that I don't value. I want cold hard cash. I don't want gold jewelry.
Because I don't post on Instagram a lot. So if someone said, hey, we'll give you free stuff, like
also like it's my image. It's an image that I don't like. I don't want to be seen as promoting a product. I don't want to have a hashtag ad. Maybe
I'm for sale. So if any sponsors are listening to this, I
don't have any sponsors right now. I wonder what my first sponsor would be. I think it'd be fun if it was a dating
Cash app.
I don't know.
But your podcast is to just interview all sorts of people. It's not specifically catered towards like online dating or anything. We could be a repeat guest if you want us though.
I mean, we could do seasonal check-ins. See, it would be fun if one of us started dating somebody.
Yeah.
But no, right now the podcast is mostly going to be me, like a solo cast, and then once a month I'm doing interviews. Okay, to wrap it up, thank you guys for coming on the show today. This is Thoughts from Your Gal Pal. I'm Clara, the gal behind the thoughts. I want to end this with one piece of lovely thoughts from our guests, Oliver and Peter. I mean, we've gotten really into it, guys, today. But there are moments in time, they come like waves, like ships in the night, when you just feel down and out on your luck. Like you're not getting what you want. Somebody rejected you. Somebody told Peter point blank that there was zero romantic interest. But when you were feeling down, what is something that you do to cheer yourself up, or what do you do to cheer your friends up?
I'd say everything I have said that's remotely positive to Clara today, everyone should practice. Like, you shouldn't take any of these things personal. Like, these people don't really know you. Like, hang out with the people that really do know you and value you. If you ever feel it down the dumps, if you got like, I don't know, someone ghosted you or some shit. And then like, I would say instead of thinking like what you, like, I don't know, did wrong or something, think more in terms of like,
what a fucking loser they are.
Yeah, on the next one, like they missed out.
I think the one thing that I always want to make sure to tell myself and potentially others is that it's supposed to be fun. We're trying to meet people, to make connections that could potentially last, so it could potentially last forever. So you got to remember to have fun. You're meeting new people. You're opening yourself to new experiences, which is already difficult depending on how introverted you are. And I try to remind myself never to tie your self-worth to whether or not you're single. I've seen friends do that, and it is a very, very slippery slope of unhappiness that, especially with pandemic times, how difficult it is, or at least in the beginning of the pandemic, to meet people, it was just a recipe for disaster. So, well, gentlemen, I appreciate your time, and thank you guys so much for being on my first inaugural episode. I'm going to have a blast editing this hour-long plus interview into something a little bit more concise.